I need new music.
Discover new music now. JJO.
So swallow hard the serpents of many tags and faces.
Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO. Welcome to Discover New Music. So excited about my guest today. Joining me from the Smashing Pumpkins, the legendary Billy Corgan. Billy, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. It's a beautiful day. As my father always said, any day above ground is a beautiful day.
I will take that. I will agree complete with you and your father. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and let's get right into it because we don't have a ton of time and we got a lot to talk about. The new album, Atum, a rock opera in 3 acts, the latest brainchild from the Smashing Pumpkins. Now, conceptually, this has been described as a sequel to 95's Mellon Collie, and even along with 2000's Machina. Now, let's go back to 95. And when you made Mellon Collie, you're working on that. Was this always in the grand scheme of things to follow up and have this kind of epic continuation, or did this just something that happened organically with this as time passed and this story that you're telling?
No, it definitely took on a life of its own. When we were working on Mellon Collie in 94 and it came out in 95, I didn't even tell the band what I was doing because I thought they would just kind of make fun of me. And then once it was out and it was successful, then I sort of started talking about it a little bit. And then they started giving me the side eye, like, oh, you roped us into this thing that we didn't even know we were getting roped into. Once we did Machina in 2000, we recorded in 99. I told the band what I wanted to do and they all agreed to it. And then once we started touring it, they abandoned the concept. So I was the only one on stage living out the concept of the contrivance of the record, and my band members, of course, abandoned me in it. So that became part of the story too. So when I came around to this album and I proposed it about 4 or so years ago, my band members, being James and Jimmy, they just kind of shrugged their shoulders, which in pumpkin language means it's not going to happen. So once the pandemic hit, then I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to tell anybody. So I was back to not telling the band, and here we are.
Now, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here because obviously we're enjoying this latest one, but does Billy have even more in mind? Are we going to see this epic journey continue through the music of the Smashing Pumpkins?
I have started mapping out a sequel. I don't know if we'll do it, but it's certainly fun to map out the idea of where these characters would go. We're currently working on a very, I guess you would almost call it a very early 90s-ish Pumpkins rock record right now. It sounds very much like Gish to Mellon Collie Pumpkins. I'm in the mood for that type of music for some reason. I haven't been in that mood for a very long time. So that's kind of what we're working on. So I guess it would be if I would be interested in doing that past this.
Well, we'll wait and see. Like I said, we're enjoying Atum right now, so we'll focus on that.
Discover new music now on the homepage of WJJO.com, in the JJO app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Brock has a new interview every Thursday evening between 6 and 7. 94.1 JJO.
I need new music.
Discover new music now. JJO.
Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO and JJO Discover New Music. Our guest this week is Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins, talking to us about the new release, Atum, a rock opera in 3 acts. And you brought up James and Jimmy, and one of the questions I wanted to ask, and I know you've been back at it with the guys since around 2018, but maybe for you, what's special, and even for the fans, to have James and Jimmy on this record that can trace its roots back all the way to the early days of the Smashing Pumpkins?
You know, it took me a while because when I was the only member of the band circa 2009, you know, I was getting a lot of stick from fans and the press, like, this shouldn't continue, this shouldn't be called the Smashing Pumpkins. And of course, I would get grumpy and say, well, I wrote all the songs, so, I mean, start there. So it took me a while to really appreciate what is valuable about having original members back up on stage together. There's the obvious component, which is, well, when you play, it sounds like the band more so than somebody else playing the music. Okay. But the other thing really is an emotional connection.
Yeah.
You know, when we played Cherub Rock, I mean, I'm flashing back to being in a rehearsal space in 1992 with James and Jimmy. Now, I can't say that's what the audience is experiencing, but I think the audience picks up on that feeling that the three people on stage have been in a musical journey for, you know, I think now it's going back 35 years. Usually in the middle of the show, we play an acoustic version of Tonight where just James and I stand there. And I usually say a little something before the song. And I look at James and I'm like, and I literally say over and over again, I can't believe me and this guy started, you know, this band in my dad's bedroom that he sold drugs out of 35 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe that we're standing here and pick your spot, whether it's Adelaide, Australia, or Mexico City. I can't believe that what we started, you know, with two geeky guys and a drum machine is still playing in front of audiences of all ages all over the world. It's just mind-boggling. So I think, to your question, when a fan, whether they're a new fan or an older fan, they see us together, it gives them access to that history.
Yeah, well, I we're so excited to have you guys together and continuing this Smashing Pumpkins journey with us, this audio journey that we're on, which actually kind of brings me in. You brought in 1988, way back when, drum machine, you guys back there, and all the sounds you've experimented, explored, dabbled with, however you want to put it, with all these different sounds. Evolutionarily speaking, where does this album maybe sit in the sounds of the Smashing Pumpkins?
Oh, I love that question. I think, you know, the contrivance of the Atum musical, because it's about a rock star looking, you know, both at his past and his future, it allowed me sort of the space to explore, you know, every era of the band's music. So in a weird way, Atum really is this weird combination of the past, the present, and the future. I can't say I would have done it for any other album, but there was something about the story that brought that out of me.
It's such a journey. And of course, 33 tracks with 10 bonus tracks. It's no small feat. And so that kind of brings in this next question. If there is an answer for it, do you have a favorite track maybe, or one that really speaks to you?
I really like a song called Space Age, which is kind of it's a little bit of a tip of the cap to kind of Elton John, Rocket Man type stuff. I always like that type of music. Can't say we get there, but we're sort of in the zip code with that song. There's also a song called Neophyte, which it's kind of funny now that people have had the record. Finally, now people are starting to realize it's one of the better songs on the record. I think I always get a little confused, but I understand it now. It is people tend to gravitate towards the songs that are more familiar in style to them. Mm-hmm. Where Neophyte's probably a bit more like, if you know our song I, or, you know, 1979, it's a little bit more in that kind of electronic side of the equation. But now people are starting to figure out this song Neophyte on Atum is one of the strongest songs.
Discover new music now on the homepage of WJJO.com, in the JJO app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Rock has a new interview every Thursday evening between 6 and 7. 94.1 JJO.
I need new music.
Discover new music now. JJO.
Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO. I'm Brock, and my guest for JJO Discover New Music is Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins. And the new release, Atum, a rock opera in 3 acts, is what we're highlighting this week on Discover New Music. Before we get to rapid fire, one more question. Now, this is the 12th album for the band. You're no strangers to putting these things together. Probably seen it all from studios to stage. Is there something that really stood out in making this compared to previous works?
I think it was just how long it took and how many times I got lost along the way. And I had to kind of, find another reason to carry on because, without going too long into the story, I knew that I would face a certain level of negativity because there's a sort of general thought in the music business, which is like, bands don't have time to listen to all this music, so don't bother with it, right? Mm-hmm. And then when I did finish the record, I finally found the courage to kind of put it all together. some of the people I was in business with at the time told me literally to my face, this is a terrible idea. Don't do it. They use words like career suicide, which I have to laugh because my whole career has been a career suicide. You know, and I just thought this is like, it was like weird. It was like making a record knowing that how the movie ends. And then I finished the record and I got the ending of the movie that I knew I was going to get. A bunch of people were in my ear telling me it was a terrible idea. And somehow, because it took so long to make the record, and I was so sure of the record that I just ignored them, we got rid of working with those people, and we found people who did believe in what we were doing. And now we're enjoying a really beautiful moment that has everything to do with 35 years and the band's history and our willingness, I guess, to take chances.
Well, we love what you're doing, and we are so excited to have new Pumpkins again. Atum, a rock opera in 3 acts, out now, and go get it. If you haven't yet, you're being silly. Well, before I let you go, now that we got the important stuff out, I got about 30 seconds of rapid fire, if you would indulge me for just
Sure, of course.
Second. All right. First things first, 1985 Bears or 96 Bulls? It's the only ones you can keep.
96 Bulls.
Bret Hart Sharpshooter or the Iron Sheik's Camel Clutch?
Camel Clutch.
Soaked jeans or damp socks?
Neither.
Fair enough. No wrong answer. Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster?
Loch Ness.
Would you rather fight a man with bare arms or a bear with man arms?
A bear with man arms.
Smart answers. All right. Billy Corgan, the Smashing Pumpkins, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you, my friend.
Discover new music now on the homepage of WJJO.com, in the JJO app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Brock has a new interview every Thursday evening between 6 and 7. 94.1 JJO.